Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. Show you a little bit of what I've been up to this last week. I think in the last video I had all this, put that rust mort stuff all over it. Let me show you this stuff in case you've never seen it. Rust mort. Get it on Amazon. I put that stuff all over all the rusted areas. Put 2 coats of it on and let it sit. Ended up letting it sit for about a week, maybe more. But yeah, and then I came over it and shot it with some self-etch primer. And then after that's dry, it's pretty much dry now. I could do it now, but I'm not going to. For no particular reason. Maybe I will. But I got some of this stuff, undercoating, rubberized black undercoating. So I'll spray that all over in here. I may still end up doing that. And through the magic of editing, although not really, I just put it on pause for about 10 minutes and painted it. Because, like, why not? I'm sure I'm going to remember why not later. And I hope I never have to take this stuff off because I think that would be a bear. But anyway, that is all painted and undercoated, 2 coats. It's pretty good stuff. You just spray it on there, wait a couple minutes, and it sort of flashes over, and then you go over and hit it with another coat. I may end up doing a 3rd coat just for the hell of it. These are kind of a cool semi-gloss sort of textured finish. I kind of like it. I'm definitely going to do the whole underneath with this stuff, and I wonder if you can, I bet you can paint over this with like a color, because it might be nice to do that to the engine bay here once I get this all cleaned up. Just go ahead and paint that all with this undercoat stuff, and then maybe come over it with the exterior color, or not, just leave it black, because like it kind of looks cool. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. And another kind of cool thing, you can kind of see where there's a line there. I don't know what that line was for originally, but if I were to duplicate that line, there's like a little piece of body molding, I guess, that goes on the little clips. But from that part down, just to have that painted in this black undercoat, that'd be kind of cool. And of course, I'll do the rear fenders, and I'll, of course, come around and do this side too. This side, I've got all my little pieces cut up and ready to patch this little corner, but I've run out of gas on my welder, so that sucks. My wife is currently down in Alabama hanging out with her folks, and she has the truck, so the nearest gas refill is like 50 miles away, so I can't do anything until she gets back. But I went ahead and put like 1 coat of that rust mort on here. Before I leave tonight, I'll go ahead and put a 2nd coat on all the rusty parts. And it says on the thing to only apply it to the rusty parts, so that's what I'll do. There won't be any reason to brush it on here because that's not rust, that's new metal. So I'll just do 1 more coat of that stuff before I leave tonight, and then once I do get some more gas, I can go ahead and weld in that patch panel and then do the same primer and undercoating on this wheel well, and that'll be that. Then I can throw the suspension on here, get some tires mounted, and lower the front. That'll be great. But the big news, what I've really been up to all week, has been on the interior. As you can see, I got a big old wad of nasty carpet there, and in here, 2 bags full. I've got all the sound deadening that was in the interior. Yeah, this is just basically like tar. You can see the outline where it was over on the driver's side, where they only put a little bitty piece. Over here on the passenger side, they like covered the entire floor. I don't know why they'd have done that. Usually what you'll find on the floor of these things underneath all that is just rust, lots and lots of rust. But I'm extremely fortunate that I don't have any at all rust through. That's not true. I've got this tiny little rust through in the most random of spots. I mean, how weird is that? Like, you expect to see, rust out like maybe by that drain hole, or I don't know, down here where it would just sort of collect with nowhere to go, but nope, it's just on like the top part of this little structure rib, unibody rib that goes across. How bizarre is that? Yeah, so I'll fix it. I'll fix that panel. And I have to admit to being a complete total idiot. So these little dents right there, These little dents right there. Back up a little bit. We got some, you see where there's some water that's draining through here. Now I don't really know where that water comes from. I think it's coming from a hole that's on the where this rubber seal sits. I think there's a hole probably in there, and that's allowing water to, where'd it go? Sorry, drain through. Well, I found all these little dents with rust behind them, and this is two panels, so this is like you can't feel this from the outside. There's like a second skin that goes into the bed, and I don't know what the hell my problem is, but I just assumed that that's how that was. So I figured that there's rust behind this, and what's happening is it's rusting, and the rust is pushing out this internal metal. So I wanted to cut a little piece away from there and clean out all that rust and replace anything that I needed to. So I did. So I went over here and I cleaned that out, but I'm such an idiot. Watch this. I got a magic trick. Yeah, that's my fingers. I'm so dumb. That goes right into the bed, and it totally makes sense why there'd be dents here, because if you had anything heavy and then you slammed on the brakes, it's just going to slide through and whack the back of the bed and make a dent, you know, crack the paint, and it'll just rust on the inside. So dumb. So now I've got this panel there that I need to repair, and I didn't even need to cut in the first place. But this got me to thinking. I sent a request out in an Volkswagen pickup truck group on Facebook and said, hey, y'all got stereos in your trucks? I'd love to see it, because I want to put a nice stereo in here. Because my theory is if you have a really quiet electric vehicle, you should have a really loud stereo. So I'm going to put a really nice stereo in here. I'm going to have some fiberglass kick panels here in the corners, and I'm going to redo the dash maybe in fiberglass. I haven't decided that yet, but if I do it in fiberglass, then I'll possibly make some little speaker pods up in the corners. But I need a subwoofer, of course. Unfortunately, there's not a whole heck of a lot of room in this thing for people, much less people and a subwoofer. But what some guys have done is they actually cut through this back panel that I've already cut through. They cut through this back panel and had extended a speaker box out sort of into the bed. At first I thought that was kind of ridiculous, but now I'm thinking about it. I don't really hate that idea, because if I do a speaker box that extends into the bed, and say it comes in here 6 inches or something, will that really hurt me for capacity in the bed? Not really, even if it's another 8 inches or so. Oops, sorry. Because this sticks out, you know, that's probably a good 4 inches there. So what I could end up doing is, if it was, you know, 4 inches, I could just like weld like an 1/8 inch or even 16 gauge sheet metal straight down, weld it to the ground, and then seam seal it all the way around, and basically just extend my cab back a little bit, and put like two 8-inch subs on either side, like where that one is over there and where this thing is over here, and then between them would just be like a little cubby. It'd be like a, you know, like a small extended cab. I could put a little door on it with a lock even and make some lockable storage. I don't know, but I was just kind of thinking I might do that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll let you know how that goes. But anywho, that's what I have been up to. Yeah, so there's the dash pod. Oh, and check this out. I took the gauge cluster off, and that right there is a 4 3/8 inch wide. From here to there is 4 3/8 inches. So what that means is I can get a 4-inch wide gauge. There's a company out there called Speed Hut, and they do CAN bus controlled gauges. So instead of sending this off to some company and having them replace all this mechanical stuff with electronic stuff, which there is companies that does that, I can just put a CAN bus controlled speedometer in it, and it'll have a digital odometer and trip meter, which the factory Volkswagen gauge doesn't even have a trip meter. A trip meter is kind of an important thing on a home built EV project, because you need it as your gas gauge, really. Like, I'll have a state of charge meter, which that CAN bus speed hut gauge that I'm talking about, it does have a state of charge. It's got the speedometer and then a little state of charge meter on it, and that's great. But as kind of a, I don't know, make you feel good thing, you reset your trip meter each time you recharge the battery, and then if you've got 200 miles range, once you're at 150, it's like, once you get to 100, you gotta go, okay, well, it's time to go home. That kind of thing. So, yeah, so I think that might work out pretty good. I need to get in contact with them and make sure that the messages that their gauge wants to receive are the same messages that the drive unit will spit out for my speed, for my speedometer. So I need to make sure that this thing spits out the information that the gauge wants to hear. And if it doesn't, is the gauge programmable? That sort of thing. Then down here, I got my wiring harness. I need to go through this wiring harness and find like my little hazard. I need to trace all those wires back to some point and cut them. And same goes, this is the wires that went into the blinker switch. This is one of these is for this windshield wipers, and another one's for the starter. So all of those I'll have to trace back to where they are, and then just sort of cut them off with a nice long, I guess you'd call it pigtail, that I can splice into when I get a new fuse panel, when I get a new wiring harness. Yeah, so that's pretty good. This is the little light for the cigarette lighter, I think. Anyway, all right, well, that is it for me for this week. Hope you all are doing well, and I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.